Hi. In this video we will discuss about DAX aggregate functions. Measures are the most common place to apply these aggregate functions. There are mainly two types of aggregate functions. First type is simple aggregate functions. In other words, these are called non-iterative aggregate functions. The second type is iterator aggregate functions, also known as X aggregation functions. Let's look at some of the simple aggregate functions. Sum, average, min, max are the most commonly used aggregation functions in DAX measures. These functions will accept only one column as parameter. We cannot pass any mathematical expressions, like product of two numerical columns as parameter. These functions does not support any expressions, whereas the iterator functions support the expression as parameters. If we have x at the end of these aggregate functions, then they become iterator aggregation functions. These functions will accept a table and an expression as input parameters. They will iterate over each row of the table and evaluate the expression provided to the function. Let's look at some of the examples. This is the report from our previous video. We have sales amount calculated column, which is product of quantity into unit price. We calculated this sales amount for each row and stored this value in the sales table. In the total sales measure, we are using sum as aggregate function and passing the sales amount column for finding the total sales. We are using simple aggregate sum function. So we need to pass the pre-calculated sales amount from each row of the sales table. What if we can pass the quantity into product expression in sum function? Then we don't have to calculate and store the sales amount for each row. But the sum function can only accept one column as input. This is where iterator sum x function comes into picture. Let's create another measure using sum x function. We call this measure as total sales 2 and pass sales table and product expression as input parameters. As you can see that using sum x function, we can find total sales more efficiently without creating additional calculated column. This will save lot of space in the model by avoiding creation of calculated column. So it's efficient to use iterator aggregation functions in project. But if you have required columns available at each row level, simple aggregate functions will perform better. I hope you understand the differences between simple aggregate functions and iterator aggregation functions. See you in the next video. Thanks.